California is entering its 5th year of a drought, and there's 1 million people without access to fresh drinking water. One of the most notable communities has been the community of East Porterville. East Porterville is about 160 miles north of Los Angeles, so not far from where we are now. And that community has been without running water in some cases for almost 2 years. About 500 families, they estimate maybe 12,000 people. Their home wells have all gone dry. And in emergency response, which I think is something that California does well, I mean, we respond to emergencies very, very well. We know how to do relief. And in emergency response, the state has brought in large plastic tanks, commercial-sized tanks, and they're numbered, and they're put right in front of a house. And only those that own their home are able to qualify for one of those tanks. And once a week, the county brings in truckloads of water to refill your tank with. And you have to then go to a central location, I believe it's a church parking lot in East Porterville right now, to refill. Either fill up a barrel in the back of your truck and take that home, or however you want to fill those up. And that water is not potable, so you can't drink it straight out of the barrel. So you would have to get it out of a spigot, maybe gravity feed, I've seen. Some homes are lucky. They have small pumps that connect that tank to their home, but again, the water's not potable, so they have to boil it. This is for bathing and washing dishes and drinking, cooking. And unfortunately, there are plans to connect to the main infrastructure lines nearby, but they're talking about millions of dollars and years away from being able to do that. And unfortunately, I think someone has probably done the math and figured out it might be cheaper just to keep delivering water to these communities. Now, someone says, hey, why don't they move? Or why don't they do a relocation program? Or, they just shouldn't live there. Well, pretty unfortunate when you're telling someone who maybe has, been living in that area for generations. This is an old community near the Sierra foothills, that you just shouldn't live there anymore. And then you don't offer them any way out. The drought is caused by nature, caused by divine right order. It happens. We go through cycles of raining and not rain, snow and not snow. And that happens. And we're used to that in California. That's why we have the water infrastructure that we do. Because we're used to, for centuries, of having times of abundant rain and snow that we capture to hold us through times of drought and dry periods to make sure that we are providing for our people and for our communities and for our water users in our state. And we've been doing that since the beginning of statehood. Since we figured out that 2/3 of the rain and snow is in the north and 2/3 of the state is south. But the crisis that we're experiencing, crisis like in Porterville, crisis of lack of supply, of lack of recovery plan, that's completely within man's grasp. So what's our recovery? I think we have to talk about making the decision to invest right away into addressing our water crisis. That includes getting our infrastructure up to speed, not only using our existing infrastructure, in some cases, which is way old, and investing in getting it up to date and utilizing our great technology to get us competitive with the rest of the world in developing our infrastructure, but and expanding into new technologies, whether it's desal or water recycling or stormwater capture. There's amazing new technology for all of that. But even expanding our existing supply, utilizing the existing bones of our state that carried us into the 20th century, into the 21st century, expanding existing reservoirs or even building smart new reservoirs. That could provide green power through hydro while still providing plenty of water and expanding our supply for environmental reasons, but also for our farms and for our people. And the other part of this, too, has to go to how we reform our policy. If we're going to be making decisions to protect the environment, then we should protect it like we mean it, which means we have to have measurable goals. We have to be able to account for, are the policies and processes and science that we're using actually doing their job? Or do we continue to say we're going to protect a species at the cost of millions of lives, and that species continues to decline? That goes back to that value of water and that value we place on this. And so we have to make the conscious decision in the long term to invest in our supply, to expand to meet our needs for our next century. But that also includes making sure that the policies we have on the books are good policies and we're using good science and we're throwing, we're investing in doing right by the environment as well as by our people and by our food supply and by our security as a country.